Hi, David Hood here, the Dallas SEO Geek, and this video is about the exponential and search engine optimization. What is the exponential? I'm referring to exponential distributions of numbers, a lot of times data and information, or trends in terms of what people are doing, or really anything numerical at all that involves a distribution of data points. In actuality, most things in the world are curved lines like this. Now, it might have like a bump up here and then resume its exponential curve, and then with a bump. Sometimes they're bumpy like that, but in general, things are not going in a straight line. Although over very short periods, they can appear to go as a straight line, and this is what is so deceptive and why many people kind of assume things are distributions are straight lines. An example of this is the stock market. Now, if you look at the value of the stock market in 1984, let's say I guess that's about 40 years ago, versus today, you think, wow, they just were doing nothing. It's complete, slackers. If you use this as sort of an overall development and increase in value and productivity in the United States, you think, what were they doing here? It seems like they were doing nothing. But if you were to go back to 1984 and look at this graph over the same time period, but back also beyond, it's going to look pretty much exactly like this. Not exactly. You can see there's bumps and it's not consistent, but in general, what you've got is you've got exponential growth, and that's essentially what happens. At some point, the development in the future will dwarf dramatically what we're capable of now, and the rate of increase at which we are building our society in terms of technologically is increasing as well. So what does this have to do with SEO? I think I've diverted for long enough. It's important for understanding our world in general, but it's definitely very important for for SEO. So the first thing is click-through rate. So essentially, if you look at the #1 position, they get 37% of the clicks on average. It can vary quite a bit. #2, 17%. This is an exponential drop. It's not an exponential increase. So you can notice that by the time we get to #5, it's 10 times less than #1. 10 times. So the value of being #1 for a search phrase versus being #5 is 10 times more. It's actually higher than that, but at least numerically, like the amount of visitors, if this gets searched 100 times a month, if this is a search phrase, and you're #1, you're going to get about 37 visitors to your site. If you're #5, you're going to get about 3 to 4 visitors per month for that search phrase to your site. So this is an example of an exponential distribution. This is important to understand, why, like if someone's like, hey, I'm going to get you the first page, and it's maybe for a low competition search phrase, being at the bottom of the first page or something that doesn't get searched a whole lot isn't really probably going to make a big difference in terms of your traffic. It could. It depends on a lot of factors, and it depends on how valuable that is, but it's important to understand that really, when I see bottom of the first page, I see that as an opportunity to make it to the top. Okay, it's better than being on page 10 or nowhere at all, but it's definitely not the goal of any SEO project. We want high rankings for highly competitive things. Now, if something gets searched a lot, then being on the bottom of the first page is going to make a big difference if it's a really important search phrase, and it could even drive a lot of traffic. Traffic growth. Here's an example of a highly competitive niche. You can see the total traffic cost if they were to bid on this organic traffic. This is straight out of SEMrush, and you can see, right here, it's so low that it looks like it's 0. It's not actually 0, but it looks like it's 0. And up here, they're getting exponentially more. It's orders of magnitude more. That's a way of saying essentially when you add a 0 to the end of a number, that you're adding an order of magnitude. It's orders of magnitude higher. And that's an example of exponential growth. Obviously, this is, they were penalized here, but I think a better, if you were to look at this growth right here, this is maybe a more normal and average growth that you would expect for a site, but over a longer period of time, although that looks like it was about a year. So the growth of your traffic. So, I try to explain to people as we build the digital asset that is their website through SEO, that when we start seeing rankings, that's a great sign, but it doesn't mean that, oh, okay, well, this is, it's going to be a little bit more than this, but it can't be that much more. No, it could be 10 times, it could be 100 times, it could be 1,000 times more the traffic that you're getting now or the traffic you get initially. But if we go from nothing to a little bit of traffic or to some pretty good rankings that aren't driving a lot of traffic but that are better, that's a really great sign because it snowballs, okay? And so, you know, we go from someone who has no traffic to start, no organic traffic, you got to start somewhere, and it's going to start with a few visitors. And then you take care of those visitors and you do some other stuff and it grows. But it usually doesn't grow overnight, as you can see. And Google has slowed this down as well. It's pretty hard to take something for the competitiveness of this niche that this is in. This is a lawyer site, and do that really quickly. It still can be done. It depends on how aggressive you want to be. Okay, so the quality of a link. This is really important. I mean, one link can be far more powerful than anybody than tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of links. I mean, 100,000 links could actually be bad for you. But even if we take that out of the equation, the quality of a link. I mean, if you think about, if I got a link from the homepage of Google saying SEO consultant, you know, that would rank me pretty stinking well for SEO consultant, right? But as opposed to sending 10,000 links to these crappy sites that are in China and Russia, and there's automated content, there's tons of other links, and it's just a really low quality site, there's not actually any real traffic, etc., then it doesn't matter how many of those you can send, you're never going to make up for the Dallas SEO consultant. But even if you could, it would be very, very hard. You would have to have just tons and tons and tons. I don't even know how many of those links. I mean, and that again is still not true, because those would hurt you. The mass links would hurt you. But even if they didn't, all right, repeating myself a little bit. Authority of a website. So as you build your off-page and maybe even some on-page authority, and just overall authority, and that's just the best term I can come up with for Google, how they look at you and how powerful you are and how much space they think you should take up, how much gravity your site has, for lack of a better term, in terms of attracting people. So like a brand new site is going to have basically no authority, right? Maybe it's 1 in domain authority in terms of Moz's metric, domain authority 1. You know, how much more powerful, and then the number, you know, how much more powerful is YouTube or Google.com than your domain authority 1 site? Well, it's an astronomical number. You know, and even if you get 10 times more authority, that's still going to be pretty low authority, right? You need way more, and at each step, at each order of magnitude of increase in overall authority of your brand and your site and all that, it's going to increase exponentially your results. And you need, for each next step, you need a lot more than it took for you to get on all the previous steps. So let's say going from domain authority 30 to domain authority 40. That's more domain authority juice overall to go from 30 to 40 than to go from 0 or 1 to 30. By a lot. Not just by a little bit, by a lot. Right? So it's a lot more. Okay, I think I've geeked out long enough. Thanks for staying with me. I appreciate you watching this. Let me know if you have any questions. This is a little bit of I'm kind of a math nerd a little bit, so it's a little bit of a passion of mine. If you would like for me to do a free analysis for your website, look at some of the exponential math that is involved in your specific situation, go to my website, fill out the discovery form, and you'll get a free analysis. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.